Good evening, everyone. And now I'm going to start my today's session again, which is going to be on writing letters. But the topic which I'm going to take today is going to be about the cover letter. Okay. Yesterday I showed you all as a student how you all can write application letters within the college premise for the higher authorities, which is very very important. But now today the topic which I'm going to talk is about the cover letter. Now, what exactly is a cover letter and when are you supposed to write it? See, as I said, that in another 1 year down the line, after 1 year or 2 year, when you're trying for a job off campus or even on campus also, you should never submit your resume or your curriculum vitae, or you can say your CVs directly to the HR department of any company where you're trying for the job. It is recommended that along with your CV or your resume, you're supposed to type a cover letter, okay? And along with the cover letter goes your uh, resume or your CV as an enclosure, okay? So never ever directly send your CVs or your resume or submit your CVs or your resumes to the companies where you're applying for the job. Always make sure along with your CVs or your resumes, both are synonyms. You can either say CVs or resume. Okay, you have to make sure that there is a cover letter. So cover letter basically is the first impression, first and the last impression about you and your personality and what exactly you are. So what the company HR people do is that they just have a glance on your cover letter, and the way you present the information about your cover letter, okay, the way you present it, the way you write information, the way you're presenting yourself in the cover letter gives them a hint whether to look at your CVs or not. Remember, this is a fact, okay? The way you write your cover letter, the way you are presenting your information about your personality, uh, about yourself in the CV, in the cover letter, will let the HR people decide whether to read your CVs or resumes or not. So how that's how important it is. Okay, so it's very important to write a cover letter, and let's see how a cover letter is supposed to be written. So this is a sample format which I'm trying to show you people. Okay. So as I said, any type of formal letters you write, whether it's a cover letter or an application letter or a request letter, whatever type of categories of formal letters you write, the format remains the same. And as I said, I am teaching you people the British format. Okay. So you can see here the format. Okay. Towards the right side, towards your right side comes the sender's address. See, this is the sender's address, your details. What does your detail include? Should include in a cover letter. Yesterday I showed you letter written to a principal. So as a student, when you're writing a letter to principal or HOD or dean, you're not supposed to mention your home address. As I mentioned you yesterday, you can just write the details about your, about your department and which division you are. Okay, that is important when it comes to writing a letter to somebody in the college premise. But then if you're writing, when you're writing a cover letter, you must write your actual address, permanent address. You're not supposed to give details about the college, because when you're going to try for a job, you will no longer be a student, right? You will no longer be residing in a hostel, or you may be staying in a PG and all those stuff. No, when you're writing your address in a cover letter, make sure you write the address which is your permanent address. Okay. Now, in this, you can see that soon after the address, your contact number must be there and your email address should also be there, which I did not mention in yesterday's letter. In yesterday's letter, you might have seen that, I had not mentioned you people to mention, I didn't mention you people to write your contact number and your email address. But in case of cover letter, it's a must, because in case you get selected for the interview, okay, those people must know your contact number as well as your email address. So it's very important to mention your contact number. Now see, some students have 2 or 3 contact numbers. Maybe some people are using Like especially Goans I have seen. They use, when they go to Goa, they have a different number, and when they come to Belgium, they have a different number. Okay, similarly, some students, like some people, are habituated to using different numbers for different purpose. So give them a number where you are accessible. Like some people have a office number different and personal number different. So whichever you feel is relevant, the people must be able to access you anytime. Usually companies will try to contact you during daytime. So it's very important for you to mention the right contact number, not any temporary number or number wherein you may not always be accessible. So it's very important to mention your contact number and the email address which you are regularly using. Sometimes it may so happen that you may have multiple email IDs, but then which is the one which you are regularly using, mention that. Okay. So it's very, very important to write your permanent name, followed by your address, followed by your contact number, which you are regularly using, and your email address, which you regularly use. And then again, you can see there is a space here. You have to leave one line of space and write date. So when you're writing date, also follow the British standard. And then towards the left side comes the employer details. Now, whom are you going to write this letter to? The company. Okay, now whose details are you supposed to know in a company? A company is a very big organization. What is it that you're supposed to mention in the employer's details? You may not have to mention the CEO's name. You may not know the CEO's name. You're not going to write a cover letter and send it to the CEO of the company or some manager in the finance department or any other department. No, you must know that when you're sending a cover letter along with your resume, you must forward it to the human resource department. So whoever is the HR department head over there, if you know his or her name, well and good. If you don't know, then directly it has to go to the head of the HR department. So you can write the name of the HR department concerned person. Either you can do that. Okay, that is one thing. Okay, if you know the name, well and good. If you don't know the name, directly forward it to the HR department. The heading must be, I will show you the sample. Okay, so company name, recruiter and job title. Okay, address, phone, fax, email. Actually, phone, fax, email is not required about the employer details. Of course, in this format they have mentioned that, but then there is no need to mention the phone number and the fax and the email of the employer. It's really not required. But then you must know the name of the person who is in charge of the HR department. Okay, and then the company name and the address of the employer details, usually the company name. Okay, then comes the salutation. As I said, dear. Now here, don't say respected. When you're writing a cover letter, don't ever use the word respected. You're not supposed to use respected at all. Okay, now suppose I assume that you get to know that there is an opening in Infosys Bangalore branch, and the HR department happens to be, say, Miss Anisha Shah. She is the head of the HR department, and she has given, like, if anybody wants to try for a job in Infosys, for it's basically for freshers. Assume, I'm just giving an example. Then in that case, you have to, and suppose if it is mentioned that you need to contact Miss Anisha Shah, who is the head of the HR, who is the HR manager, then you have to write Dear Miss Shah. Don't write Dear Anisha. Okay, that would be very rude. It will be considered very rude and impolite. Don't say Dear Anisha, and don't say Dear Miss Anisha also. That is also wrong. So suppose in case Infosys has given an ad, but they have not mentioned the name of the person, then what? In that case, you don't know what to do. Then you can say Dear Sir slash Madam, because you don't know the HR manager is a female or a male. So see, based all these things are very, very important. Okay, if you know the name, if it is a female, say Dear Ms. MS, and then Shah, the last name, and not the first name. And if it is, say, Dear Mr. Amit Khanna, then in that case you have to say Dear Mr. Khanna, not Dear Mr. Amit or Dear Amit. He's not your friend to say Dear Amit. So say Dear Mr. Khanna, whatever is his surname. And then you can talk about the subject line. As I said, generally subject is not required, because when you're sending a cover letter along with your resume, they will understand that this is a cover letter, so you can omit the subject. Okay, you can omit the subject. Now once, or you can regarding, re means here it is not reply. Okay, it's not reply. Regarding, re means it's a short form for regarding job title and job ID. Suppose in case You get to know that there is a opening in Infosys as a software tester, okay, and the job ID is say 261. Then in that case, you can say regarding software tester, okay, job ID, whatever is a 267 or whatever. In case if you know the job title and the job ID, then if you want to mention the subject, then you can just instead of subject, you just say RE. RE means regarding. Put a colon, see everything, every minute details you must take care. As I said, it is the first and the last impression that the people will get to know what type of a person you are just by going through your cover letter, not even your resume. Okay. And then you need to divide your cover letter into three paragraphs, which are very important. Okay. So, what is it that you have to write in the first paragraph, and what is it that you need to write in the second and the third? It is actually decided. I mean, decided in the sense there are certain strict rules and regulations that you need to follow. So, writing cover letter is not as easy as what I taught you yesterday. Okay. First paragraph, don't give your introduction. Like yesterday I told you, students generally after, even after mentioning who they are in the from the from address, they still have the habit of mentioning who they are. You are not going to introduce yourself, who you are, what you have done. No, nothing. Come to the point directly. Come to the point directly in the sense, first paragraph, you must mention, okay, what job you are applying for. Okay, suppose if there is this Aman, example of Aman. Let's assume that there is Aman Sharma, who is a student of MCA, who has just completed his MCA with flying colors, with say A plus grade, and he's a very good developer in Java, and he's trying to get into some new company wherein he has got to know in the Times of India there is an opening in Infosys. I'm just giving an example. So how is Aman supposed to write his CV, his cover letter here? He's supposed to say, I'm applying for the post of software tester as advertised in the Times of India dated 30th May 2020. This is what goes inside the first paragraph and nothing else. Don't give your introduction. Don't tell anything about any other non-relevant things. You just have to tell, I'm applying for the position you have advertised in the Herald on which day. That also is sufficient. So this goes inside the first paragraph. Then comes the second paragraph. Now second paragraph is something which is going to, you know, uh, convince the HR people as to, you have to convince yourself as to why you think you are applying for the position, what skills and experience and qualities you have that will make you qualified for that particular positions. Okay, in case if you have any previous experience or your educational qualification, all these things, your experience. Okay, first thing is you have to convince them why you're applying for the position, what reasons you are going to give. See, I cannot give us statements which can be used by everybody. No, it's not like that. Based on your knowledge, based on your experience, based on what you know about yourself, you're supposed to write it. So remember, these are the important things. Why are you applying for the position? So for that, you need to tell why you consider yourself the appropriate candidate. And for in order to apply for that position, you need to justify what are the skills you have. If you are a fresher, you need to talk about your skills. If you are an experienced person, you need to talk about skills and experience and certain qualities. You remember when you gave your self introduction, I told you that you must know your strengths and weaknesses. So don't mention your weaknesses over here. Of course, you need to mention your strengths. Strengths are very, very important. You need to mention what are the strengths that will make you qualified for that particular position. Okay, even you can talk about your qualifications. So you are an MCA graduate. Okay, so if you're so your qualifications, skills, experience, strengths, qualities which will fulfill the requirement for that particular position. These are the things that goes into the second paragraph. And why are you interested in that position and the company? Well, you may also talk about why exactly are you interested in that particular position and in that particular company. So these are the things that you can write, okay, in the second paragraph. And once, but remember, it should not be a very, very lengthy essay. It should not be like that you go on writing and writing and you're not going to complete your resume over here. More details about your qualifications, your experience, your skill set, everything will be there in the resume. Only those things which you feel are very, very important and very unique and which you can 100% be sure about, only those things, and you need to be very honest. Simply just because of the sake of writing, don't write something, don't bluff, because they will catch you later on. It will be very, very embarrassing for you. You be very, very honest. Okay. Then after the second paragraph, you need to come to the third paragraph. So when you come to the third paragraph, refer to your resume, okay, and provide more details about the skills and experience that you have to offer. Prove or explain why you're suitable for the position. Generally 2 and 3, actually there is in this example, in this particular cover sheet template, they have given 2 and then 3. 3 they're asking you to persuade, but actually there is, you can club paragraph 2 and 3 together. Okay. You need to talk about skills and experience, and you need to justify why you consider yourself the right person for that particular position. Okay. So these are the 2 and 3 are, they go hand in hand. I mean, generally I recommend students to write paragraph 2 and paragraph 3 together. But then suppose if you can talk about, basically what you can do is, suppose if you are a person who's having very good experience, maybe even as a fresher also, you might have undertaken plenty of projects as a, as a type of, as a hobby, you might have developed many Android applications, or you might have developed small types of projects for some small companies or something of that kind. Then you can, you can tell in paragraph 2, you can talk about your skills and your qualification. Paragraph 3, you can justify why do you consider yourself the right person for that position, explaining little bit about your work experience. Okay. So you need to persuade, you need to talk about your skills, experience, and persuade and tell why you consider yourself the right person. And paragraph 4 will be action and closing. You need to immediately come to the point. Once you have written your interest and persuasion is done, state what you believe will occur next. That is, you need to be very, very quick here. Okay. Prove you are keen by stating that you look forward. Now you have to tell them that you are going to look forward to their reply. Look forward to their reply in what sense? You're looking forward for an interview with that particular company. Okay. Sign off with, you need to tell that when you are available. Now suppose if you are already working, then you can say that, I look forward for a positive response, or look forward for the interview or something like that. You need to tell when you are available. You need to talk about your availability also. That's very, very important. And then sign off with regards or kind regards. Now don't say yours faithfully and yours sincerely here. Remember that. Okay. Because yours faithfully is written only if you are using dear sir, dear madam, or respected sir or respected madam. So you are not supposed to say yours faithfully at all. So best thing is, you can just say regards or kind regards followed by your signature and name, as I have already explained. So this is how kind regards and then signature. Now also remember that cover letter is something which you are attached, which you are sending along with your CVs. So you have to mention in the last paragraph that you need to tell, please find my resume attached for further reference. I look forward to having an opportunity to discuss my application further, and I'm available for interview anytime. If you are available anytime, mention it. If you're not available, if you're already working and you get time only on Saturdays and Sundays, and you can mention that, and since I'm still working in the such and such a company, you don't have to tell anything why. Just say I'm available on the weekends, something like that, or after 5 or after 6. Just tell your availability. Don't tell why you're not available on other days. Okay. Thank you for your time. And see, this is a sample paragraph which is there in this. Okay. Please find my resume attached or enclosed for further reference. I look forward to having the opportunity to discuss my application further, and I'm available for an interview anytime. Thank you for your time and consideration for my application. And then leave 2 lines of space, kind regards, comma. Again, leave 2 or 3 lines of space, and then write your name, and take a proper, you need to make sure that no grammatical errors are there, no punctuational errors are there. Everything is very, very well, formatted. Proper care is taken with respect to the font. All the things that I explained yesterday is applicable here also. And then you take a printout and then sign with your hand. So this is the format of the cover letter. Now I'm going to show you 2 different samples of cover letter. So let's go to the sample cover letter. So here it is. Yeah. Look at this example. In this example, the person hasn't written the name, directly has written the address followed by the email ID. But as I said, it's okay if you write your contact number, you can write your email. As these are some examples, so you may find some differences, but please make sure that you write your email and contact number. Okay. So the address is directly written 34 North Street, South Penrith, Sydney, NSW 275. Very one more important thing which I didn't tell yesterday. When you're writing address, okay, in a letter, any kind of letter, make sure that every word in the address begins with a capital letter. Okay, like yesterday I took Aman Sharma's letter, right? See here also A capital, S capital, department D capital of MCA, fourth semester, every letter, okay, every word in the address that you mention must start with a capital letter. This is very important. So here also you can see North Street, N capital, S capital. So when you are writing address from and to, make sure this particular thing is very important. Okay. Then Sydney, and then NSW he has written it because it may be some abbreviation, like USA is an abbreviation, UK is an abbreviation. If you have an abbreviation, abbreviation can be fine. Everything can be capital. But otherwise, don't write everything capital. Then two lines of space, and then this is a date written in again in British format, DDMMYY. Either you can, if you are using British format, you can use dot to separate it. Okay. And then now look at this here. As I said, whom are you going to send this particular cover letter to the HR department, human resource department. Another name for human resource department is personal department. Look at the spelling of personal, PERSONNEL. Okay, personal department. Then Milton Event, the Milton Event Management, Glenmore Park, Sydney, NSW 2745. So like this, you need to mention the entire address of the, if you don't know the, I mean, here you can see directly the personal department, Milton Event Manager, name of the company, the address has been mentioned. The name of the person has not been mentioned in this address. Okay. Then two lines of space, and then you can see, dear Mr. Spearing. Okay, dear Mr. Spearing. Now look at this example. Who is this Mr. Spearing? He may be the head of the department. He may happen to be the head of the department. He may happen to be the head of the department of the personal department. Okay. So here also Spearing doesn't mean it's the first name, it is the last name. Then put a comma. Okay. Now look at the first paragraph. What did I tell you? First paragraph, you need to tell. What is the first paragraph? You need to tell, okay, what post you're applying for, how did you get to know. Okay. So look at this example here now. I'm writing to apply for the post of personal manager's assistant as advertised in the Sydney Guardian. Of course, this person has not mentioned in which word, I mean, which dated which. It's okay. As I said, these are all sample examples. And then he has mentioned, I enclose a completed application form. So he has mentioned that he has enclosed an application form. Now, the application form is not similar to CV or resume. Sometimes companies, they send their own application form. Usually in on campus, it happens like that. Companies, when they're coming to recruit students, okay, they have their own application form which they ask the students to fill. Along with that, they ask your CVs or resumes also. So it may so happen that the company may send their own application form, or they may say that the application form is available on the company website. You need to download it and send it. So whatever it is, whatever you're enclosing, you need to mention. So in this example, you can see the person has told what job he is trying for, how did he get to know, and what he is enclosing. Then look at the second paragraph. Now here you need to convince why you consider yourself to be the right candidate for that particular post. Okay. So it is very short, but very, very important, and important points need to be mentioned. Look at the way he has written. I graduated in June 2011 with a bachelor's degree in business administration. So you're telling, the person is telling his qualification. Okay. And since then, I have worked as an executive assistant with Ring Fields. Then he's telling where he worked after his graduation. Then he is justifying. I believe my experience of office administration and my strong written and spoken communication skills Make me an excellent candidate for the post you are advertising. So here is telling, he is justifying why he considers himself to be the right person. So instead of 2 and paragraph 2 and paragraph 3, in paragraph 2 and 3 has been clubbed together and has been written. And look at the way it is ended. Immediately you have to end it. I am available for interview at any time and look forward to hearing from you. Okay. Yours sincerely, Deborah Lundi, whatever is this person's name. Okay. So in this example, the person has mentioned yours sincerely. Let me tell you, according to the rules and regulations of opening and closing, whenever you start any letter with dear sir or dear madam, okay, you have to say yours faithfully. But if you are starting with Mr. or Miss or Miss, Mrs. or Doctor, you have to make sure you write last name. And if you are using dear Mr. last name, you have to actually say yours sincerely. But then I'll tell you what happens. Students generally get confused. Although I tell them these are very important things, still they forget. I don't know why. So what is supposed to be done in case you forget? In case you forget, then in that case, best way is to say kind regards or regards. Okay. But if you are using respected sir, you have to make sure, or dear sir, dear madam, please don't end it with yours, I mean regards and kind regards. Not supposed to say regards or kind regards at all for dear sir and madam or respected sir. Okay. So you have to make sure you by heart these particular things. You have to make sure you please by heart these things. Okay. So that's the reason you can see here it has been ended with yours sincerely. You're not yours faithfully. So whenever you're writing dear Mr., if he's a male, dear Mr. followed by last name. If it is a female, dear MS. I told you, write MS. Don't write Mrs. because you don't know that that lady is really married or not. It will be very embarrassing. So write MS, M capital and small s. Suppose if this person happens to be female, then MS like this. Don't write Mrs. Please avoid that. Whether she's married, not married, don't worry about that. Just write MS. MS means it doesn't tell whether she's married or not married. Okay. And then yours sincerely, comma, give some space, your name, take a printout and sign with your hand. So this is another example of a cover letter. Okay. Let's come to another example now. Look at this. Now this person has directly written the address 59 Cranmore Street, Manchester, M39 8GW, left 2 lines of space, written the date, and then again personal department, name of the company, address. Okay, then again leave space. You can see in both the examples there is no subject. I told you in cover letter subject is not required. However, if you still feel that you must write subject, if you feel if something is missing, then I told you follow this technique. You can just write RE and then job title and job ID. Okay, that is also fine. So now let's come to this example. Now here he says, dear Mr. Campbell, dear Mr. Campbell, okay, comma. Then look at the spaces. Okay, I would like to apply for the post of customer service officer, which you are advertising on jobsearch.com. Okay, sentence is a bit different. I would like to apply for the post of customer service, which you are advertising. Okay, on jobsearch.com. So this person has mentioned the website where he has got to know. Then look at this. Now he did not mention here what he has enclosed. Now in the second paragraph he tells, you will see from my CV, CV means curriculum vitae, that I have a degree in English and economics. So qualification he told. I've also completed a course in IT applications, including spreadsheets. Okay, I have good communication skills and a wide knowledge of electronic goods, as I previously worked at weekends in an electronic store. So second paragraph tell important skills, qualification, skills, experience that will persuade the HR manager, as to why you consider yourself the right person for that particular post. Then last paragraph, I'm available for interview at any time and look forward to hearing from you. Okay. And then yours sincerely, comma, Martin Hope. So since these are sample, so you will find a lot of difference in the language used, but then this is how the language is supposed to be used. Okay. So 2 examples I have shown you. First one was this. Okay. And the second, here the person, but make sure you people can mention your contact number and your email ID for cover letter without fail. Okay. you try to cultivate that habit. Now another example I will show you. I'll just show you all the content. Look at this. Dear Mr. Anderson, okay, with this letter, I wish to express my strong interest in working with ABC Architects as a junior designer. After 3 years in design and construction, I believe I would bring several areas of competence to ABC Architects. My resume detailing my professional background is enclosed for your review and consideration. Now, this is just a person who has completed his architecture degree in architecture is writing, is applying for a job. So this person has divided it into 4 paragraphs. Of course, I will just try to share this on WhatsApp or on either on WhatsApp or on Google Classroom. So you'll get an idea. So this person has a little bit elaborately explained, because architects are people who need to justify their skills and what type of work they have done, because it's very difficult otherwise for them to get into good company. So the person is telling, in my current position I manage a team of designers and coordinate various consultants and work streams under so many things like that, and then through these and other projects. So this person has actually given a more elaborate explanation about the, of course you people need not have to. For IT students, I would not recommend you to write so much in detail. Try to keep it to 3 or at the most 4 paragraphs. So this is how it is. This is how you're supposed to write a cover letter. Now, all that you people should know is, how are you going to write a cover letter as a fresher? It's a very, very challenging thing. Okay. So I'm going to give this as an assignment. I'm going to give one compulsory assignment for you people, wherein I'm going to ask you people to write a cover letter along with your resume. Not now, but then once I complete the entire portion of communicative English, later on there will be one assignment in which I will ask you people to actually write a cover letter. I mean, you are not going to copy each other. I'll get to know if you copy each other. So everybody's answer, everybody's cover letter must be very, very different. It should not be that I'll just copy whatever you have written. No, if you do that, straight away I will, reject it, and I will reduce your marks, overall marks. So I hope the concept of how to write a cover letter has you people have followed very nicely. Okay, I will even share with you people this particular format. Fine. So this is how it is. Now I know that you people must be very curious to know as to what these Americans do. I told you that I'm going to show you people the British format. Suppose if an American, you want to use the American standard, then what is it that the Americans follow the standard? The first thing is, Americans don't write from address towards the right side. This is just for your information, okay? You follow the British style itself. They will write everything towards the left. This is the first thing that they will do. Okay? They will take everything towards the left. So from address is towards the left, followed by date, but they don't write date in this format. I told you, right? They will always use June. Suppose today is 4, they put a comma and 2020. This is the way Americans write, because they always write MMDDY5. Then if you are an American, then instead of putting comma, they put colon. They don't put comma, they put colon here. This is another difference. Okay, and then they don't say yours faithfully, they will say faithfully yours. They will say faithfully yours. Sorry, yours should be small. This is how they end it. Suppose if it is yours sincerely, then say sincerely yours or only sincerely. So this is the difference between the American and the British standard. I will not save this, but then this was just for your kind information. So this is all I had today for you people. If you have any questions or queries, please ask. Unmute yourself and please say something. Students.